Welcome to Speak English Now podcast with your host, Georgiana, the podcast that will help you to speak English fluently with no grammar and no textbooks.
Hi, everybody. I'm Georgiana, your online English teacher and founder of SpeakEnglishPodcast.com. My mission is to help you to speak English fluently. Today, I'd like to introduce you to American history. After all, if you really want to consolidate your English, you'll have to learn more about American culture and society. And what better way to start than with George Washington, the first president of the United States. George Washington was the commander-in-chief of the Continental First Army that fought the British when the country was not yet established. During the American Revolution, Washington led the colonial forces to victory over the British and was considered a national hero. He became the first president of the United States in 1789, in the first American elections. He was also elected for a second term in 1793. Therefore, he was the only president to win 100% of the electoral votes. In the United States, people celebrate George Washington's birthday on the third Monday in February. Like that, people always have a day off, even if his birthday falls during the weekend. Many people want the holiday to celebrate the birthday of another president, Abraham Lincoln, who was also born in February. Therefore, different U.S. states have renamed the holiday President's Day. The holiday is a tribute to George Washington for founding the nation. Throughout America, cities become red, white, and blue. People put flags on their windows and hang ribbons in their yards or outside shops. Americans learn as children about the history of how America was born. They learn about the Revolutionary War, as well as Washington's role in the U.S. independence. Washington's picture is on the American quarter and on the dollar bill. Even the capital of the USA, Washington, D.C., was named after him. I hope you're enjoying yourself. After all, learning about the history of America is always fascinating. Now, let's practice American history with a mini story. Alright, now let's practice with a short question and answer exercise. I call it a conversation simulator because you practice your English like in a real conversation. Here's how it works. I give you information and ask simple questions. After each question, there is a pause where you can answer. After the pause, I give you the correct answer for you to compare. Let's get started. Washington became the first president of the United States in 1789 in the first American elections. What did Washington become? Did he become a lawyer? No. Washington didn't become a lawyer. He became a president. Did he become the president of France? No. Washington didn't become the president of France. He became the president of the United States. Was Washington the second president of the United States? No. Washington wasn't the second president. He was the first president of the United States. Who became the first president of the United States? Abraham Lincoln? No. George Washington became the first president of the United States, not Abraham Lincoln. He was the only president to win 100% of the electoral votes. Did he only win 90% of the electoral votes? No. He didn't only win 90% of the electoral votes. He won 100% of the electoral votes. What did he win? Did he win the lottery? No, he didn't win the lottery. He won 100% of the electoral votes. How many votes did he win? 99% or 100%? Not 99% of the votes. He won 100% of the electoral votes. Was he the second president to win 100% of the votes? No. He wasn't the second president to win 100% of the votes. He was the first president to win 100% of the electoral votes. In the United States, people celebrate George Washington's birthday on the third Monday in February. What do Americans celebrate in the United States? Americans celebrate Washington's birthday. Where do Americans celebrate Washington's birthday? In the United States, Americans celebrate Washington's birthday in the United States. When do Americans celebrate Washington's birthday? In August? No. Americans don't celebrate Washington's birthday in August. They celebrate his birthday in February. Whose birthday do Americans celebrate? Washington's birthday. Americans celebrate Washington's birthday on the third Monday in February. Americans learn as children about the history of how America was born. Do Americans learn something? Yes, they learn about the history of America. When do Americans learn about their history? As adults or as children? Not as adults. Americans learn about their history as children. Do they learn how America was born? Yes, Americans learn as children about the history of how America was born. Americans learn about the Revolutionary War as well as Washington's role in the U.S. independence. What war do Americans learn about? The American Civil War? No. Americans don't learn about the American Civil War. They learn about the Revolutionary War. Do Americans learn about their first president? Yes, Americans learn about their first president, George Washington, and his role in the U.S. independence. The capital of the USA, Washington, D.C., was named after George Washington. What is the name of the capital of the USA? The name of the capital of the USA is Washington, D.C. Where does the name Washington, D.C. come from? The capital of the USA was named after George Washington. Is Washington, D.C. the name of the first president of the United States? No. Washington, D.C. isn't the name of the first president of the United States. Washington, D.C. is the name of the capital of the United States. Perfect! It's the end of this mini story. As you can see, through questions and answers, you can practice and improve your speech. If you want to get hours of audio with mini stories and point of view lessons, I'd like to recommend you my English fluency course. You can get it at fluency.speakenglishpodcast.com. Well, I think that's enough for today. Try to listen to this content several times and leave a comment on Facebook, YouTube, iTunes, etc. to help me spread the word about this podcast. And I have a question for you. What would you do if you were president for a day? I will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Did you enjoy today's episode? Get the transcript now at speakenglishpodcast.com. speakenglishpodcast.com.